been playing Cyberpunk 2077 again, and I've been surprised by how much I've forgotten about patch 2.0 and what's actually changed in the recent patches up to 2.3. So today we're going to go through all the major high-level changes, tips and tricks, and advanced things that you need to know when starting Cyberpunk this year. Let's go! Firstly, when you're starting a brand new playthrough, you will get a new option to skip ahead to Phantom Liberty or just start from the original start. I would highly recommend that you don't skip ahead to Phantom Liberty, even if you have played the game recently or before, as you'll miss a lot of story decisions as they'll be made for you, and some side content is just auto-completed, like all of the side jobs for Delamain and a couple of other gigs here and there. You also get given a pre-made build that you'll probably need to use that single reset of attributes, as you only get one, if you do want to actually change any of that build. And it's not actually that much like bad content or anything if you just start from the start of the game. Like, it's all quality, and I just think the overall experience of going through Act 1 and going through the heist and everything is just sort of worth doing. But in saying that, if you do start a brand new playthrough, I do recommend to speed through most of Act 1 pretty quickly. You don't necessarily need to rush through it, but the game really opens up after the heist. And while yes, there are some minor optional content that can be missed, like some dialogue options or iconic weapons, but for the most part, there's a way you can get those iconic weapons later, which we'll talk about later in the video. But once you get to Act 2, it's kind of where everything begins. Like, even a lot of the side content and the gigs that unlocked during Act 1, now that you have Johnny, he'll actually have dialogue and participate in them, even though when they originally unlocked, he wasn't able to. There is one thing in the heist, though, that I highly recommend you get, and you absolutely shouldn't miss, and that is the Iguana Egg. So in Act 1, right at the very end, during the heist, you may not know this, but there is an iguana at the top of Konpeki Plaza in the apartment.
Hey, look, V! Another fucking iguana!
Shit, you're right. Think it's the same one?
Ah, no way. Our guy had a saggier neck.
Now, behind the iguana's tree that it's like sitting on, there is an iguana egg. If you take this back to your apartment, which you can do, you'll have a bowl that you can put this in, and if you wait a very, very long time, then you will actually be able to get an iguana in your apartment. You can pet them, and Johnny will interact with them a little bit as well. Now, in terms of how much time you have to skip, there's no exact time, but it's probably significantly longer than you think. It took me about 25 minutes of time skipping in order for it to hatch, and that was after I'd played maybe about 10 hours or so after actually just putting the egg in the bowl. So definitely it's something like a couple of months of time that you're going to need to skip in order for this to hatch, but well worth doing, and it's one thing that you can't actually get after the fact if you are just speeding through Act 1. Speaking of Act 1, there are some early iconic weapons that are incredible for Act 1, but also as you get into Act 2, namely the SAM 116 assault rifle. This is a great iconic power assault rifle that has good armor penetration, but also a 22% chance to burn the target, and like it has those like explosive round sort of effect, and it's really powerful for Act 1, especially because it's so easy to get in Act 1 as well, and definitely one of the better options that you should be running. In order to get this, you need to complete 2 NCPD gigs at the top of Watson. During the first one, once you've completed it, you'll actually get the Buzzsaw SMG, which is another unique SMG that's actually not bad. Once you have completed that first one, a second one will unlock like just up the road. You'll just need to head up there and do that. Something to note here, when you do this second NCPD activity, when you defeat the elite that drops this schematic, pick up this schematic immediately, as because this is such a large area, if you move too far away from that enemy, they can despawn, and then you'll just lose the schematic until you get into Phantom Liberty. So definitely make sure you pick this up straight away, as that bug is still here, that it's been there for quite a long time. Now, the next is one of the best SMGs in the game, and that is the Fen Ra, which actually comes from a similar location. So if you're already up here doing these 2 NCPD hustles, head over to the docks, as there is a side job here with a monk that you can interact with. When you talk to him, he'll tell you to go and save his brother, and you can go and save his brother in any way you like. You don't have to do it the specific way that he suggests. Regardless of the way you do it, on the table near the brother, you will find the Fen Ra SMG. The reason that this is one of the best SMGs in the game is not only because it fires electronic damage or rounds and it has that shock chance, it's actually because of the fact that it has a chance to disable enemy cyberware. As you progress through the game, and just generally you're going to fight a lot of enemies that have this fancy cyberware just like you, like Sendever stands and etc. And using this will disable that effect. It's also fantastic for any sort of quick hack build or like combo as sort of the synergy with, you know, having a weapon that disables the cyberware that your targets are actually using. So fantastic to prevent enemies from using their skills and abilities. Great weapon to grab early on, really solid damage output as well, and SMGs are fantastic. Plus you can put scopes and muzzles on it as well. There isn't a ton of good Act 1 melee weapons. The best really comes from like the GOG Witcher rewards. Like if you own the Witcher 3 and you've got those rewards that you can get in your stash at the start of the game, you get that unique Witcher silver sword. It's probably the best in terms of like a katana option, but there isn't a ton of good iconics for Act 1 specifically. However, if you want some more iconics, I did just make a video about some of the most hidden and missable iconics in the game, and I'll link that here if you want to go and check that out. Now that you're all set up, you might want to know the fastest way to gain XP and farm money, and for the most part that comes down to NCPD activities, which if you're still in Act 1 there's plenty of these to do, but just generally throughout the game the best way to level up and get money and improve those skills is by farming these NCPD activities. However, the first thing you need to do is go to your apartment, whichever one it is, and sleep in your bed, as this will give you an experience buff for the next hour. By the way, also if you shower you'll get a buff as well that gives you health recovery while in combat. There are other buffs, but we'll get into those in a little bit. Now, while you are doing these NCPD activities, there's a couple of things that you want to pay attention to in order to actually get as much money or eddies as possible. Firstly, it's every enemy that you defeat, you want to make sure that you're picking up all of their weapons, items, etc. that they drop, and then we will take these to sell points and just sell them, because they're not really useful to us, but they do have quite a solid amount of money that you'll make just from selling these. It's actually significantly more than you get from just like farming gigs or doing that sort of activity. Now, also to note, make sure you do pick up everything, because there will be shards on these bodies. Things like these cyberware capacity shards that will slightly increase your maximum amount of cyberware capacity, money shards that just give you a flat amount of money, as well as skill shards that will improve those new skills. Now, you may remember that in patch 2.0, the skills actually got a change. Now, you've only got a smaller amount of skills, and they are all specific to certain activities you complete throughout the world or by picking up these shards. And as you level up the different tiers, you'll gain different passive buffs. Some of them will improve your cyberware capacity, some of them improve your overall damage, some of them improve your carry weight, etc. You'll be able to see if you hover over them how exactly you increase them and what buffs you get as well. But this is a great way to get these shards, just to improve them as well, plus the cyberware capacity, plus the money shards, plus also just your overall experience and money you get from farming these activities, as there's just generally a lot of enemies to defeat, which is the best way to do that. Now, once you have collected all of those eddies, don't spend them on cars or apartments, especially early on. One, because there is a free car that you can get if you pre-ordered the Phantom Liberty DLC. You will get the Sport R7 Vigilante just as soon as you start Act 1. You'll get a text about this. It's significantly faster than the starting car that you get, and it's just a solid option to run until you can actually afford much more expensive cars. But also, so much more of the progression is now linked to cyberware, like your armor specifically as well is linked to your cyberware directly rather than clothes, plus all of the other benefits you get from, say, running a quick hack build or Sendever stand or whatever build you're sort of going to run. By farming these NCPD activities, getting a bunch of money and then dumping it into your cyberware is the best way to really see success in the early stages of the game, rather than spending it on the more cosmetic stuff like cars and apartments. Some general tips for all of the newer additions to the game with the recent patches. If you're not in any particular hurry, I do recommend to try the Metro. One, it can get you to where you need to go, just like fast traveling, because all of the Metro stations are actually fast travel points, so you can avoid the Metro like animations just by using those fast travel points around the map as well. If you need to go to somewhere that's, say, the Metro point is closer than the normal fast travel point, you can use it that way. Or just in general, you can actually just travel on the Metro, and there's some unique interactions for the traveling and some like immersive things that can happen as well. And just generally, it's quite enjoyable just to, ride the Metro to your next stop. It doesn't actually take that long. I took one down to Pacifica when I was starting the Pacifica quest on this recent playthrough and just enjoyed the ride. The arcade games are a bit of a forgotten feature that was added with one of the patches. Now, there are two arcade games, the Roach Race, which is very Witcher inspired because you are playing as Roach, and the Trauma Drama, which is a bit more of a shoot 'em up style arcade game. Both of these arcade games have unique rewards for hitting rank 1, so if you do want an extra challenge, then highly recommend to do that. I won't spoil what the rewards are for you, but you can go and do those. Buying new vehicles is now way different as well, as you need to go to the auto fixer terminals that you'll see on the map. Now, when you're looking at these terminals, there are new additions to vehicles overall as well. Pay attention to that top left icon for the vehicles, as it will tell you any additional benefits that they have. For example, a lot of the cars now, you can change the color of them, and with certain variants of these as well, you can use that crystal coat technology to lose your NCPD wanted level immediately. If you're not currently inside, you can quickly change the color of your car and it'll drop off the NCPD wanted levels. But on top of that, cars also have the weaponized feature as well, so you can have rockets or just guns in general if you wanted to use those for car combat. If you want to unlock more cars in the auto fixer, you will need to do the vehicle contracts, which unlock as part of Phantom Liberty. Very early in Phantom Liberty, once you get access to just free roam in Dogtown, you'll see a vehicle contract, like you'll see that vehicle icon just pop up somewhere. Immediately go into that car, start that quest. Once you've completed that, these contracts will just randomly occur throughout Night City and in Dogtown. You'll be able to do these to unlock more cars in the auto fixer, as well as get yourself a few extra eddies from doing so. If you are returning to an old save and jumping back into Cyberpunk, I do also recommend to go to a mirror and click the customization options, as there were a ton of new player customizations added with patch 2.2. Just to list these off really quickly, there were 32 eye colors, 18 lip makeup types, 17 nail colors, 10 cheek makeup types, 16 eye makeup types, 4 face scars, 5 eyebrow shapes, 4 face tattoos, 2 body tattoos, and 8 cosmetic face cyberware options that were added with patch 2.2, so you could tweak your appearance a little bit if you like. Now, it is an older patch, but I do want to call it out as there's some unique benefits to it. But you can now buy apartments in Cyberpunk. Now, there are a few that you can buy. Each of them have different costs and different benefits, but the higher level ones, like the Corpo Plaza and the Glen apartment, will allow you to brew coffee, which will give you a stamina buff for an hour. We already talked about the shower and sleep buffs you can get as well. Additionally, when you buy these, you have unique frames. You can put like any of your photos that you take during the photo mode into them as well. But for the most part, these are quite cosmetic. You're not really going to spend a lot of time in your apartments. With patch 2.1, they did add the option to invite your fully romanced companion to your apartment, so you can hang out with them, do some general activities while you are there. This is also a repeatable quest, so after a couple of days have passed, you can invite them back to one of your apartments again if you wanted to repeat this hangout at your apartment. So there's a little bit of value to having some of them, and the different apartments have different interaction options with the romance companions as well, so that's maybe an option to buy these, but you know, it is mostly cosmetic. The last thing I wanted to touch on is when to start Phantom Liberty and a couple of Phantom Liberty specific things. So firstly, you should start Phantom Liberty as soon as it becomes available to you. Now, in order to get access to Phantom Liberty, you will need to do the Pacifica quest lines with the Voodoo Boys. Once it's unlocked through Mr. Hands, head down there and engage with the Voodoo Boys. Once you've met Brigitte and you've finished the transmission quest, you'll immediately get a phone call from Songbird that will kick off Phantom Liberty, and I do recommend to just head over there and immediately start it. In those intro quests with Phantom Liberty that are kind of linear, you can't really change too much about them, don't forget when you beat the Chimera to pick up the Chimera Core, as this is a unique reward that you can't get anywhere else. If you jump into the crafting screen, you will be able to craft 4 unique mods for specific weapon types. There's a melee, a smart, a tech, and a power. You can only create one of these, as there's only one Chimera Core in the game. So by this point, hopefully you've figured out what sort of build you're running, and you can then craft that weapon mod for the specific type of weapons that you use for the most part. But this is the only way you can get the Chimera Core. The reason you want to get access to Dogtown as soon as possible as well is that there is a vendor that will sell you any iconics that you've missed, whether that be in Act 1 or anywhere throughout the game, so you can return here at any time and pick up any of those. The other reason to do Phantom Liberty at this point as well is once you have finished it, you can then go and continue to finish the main game, as there is a unique ending for Phantom Liberty that is added if you go down the right path with Songbird, and it just fits naturally in that point in the story. Plus it unlocks those vehicle contracts we were talking about and plenty of other quests that you can do throughout Dogtown. And once you finish the Phantom Liberty main story, there are more that unlock as well. So it's best to do this just natively as part of the main story when you're progressing through the game, rather than saving it towards the end, as you know, it fits kind of in that middle point of the main story. But let me know any tips and tricks you have in the comments down below, any new advanced things that you've come across in the game. Thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.